background due to the fact that we have a different banning and picking scenario now, with round 1 actually being calculated as a map that can no longer be picked. Teams are forced to step out of their comfort zone and go for more exotic battlegrounds, and we love it.
It is now official. The Volskaya has been picked more than Cursed Hollow. As we do see the start of Cursed Hollow. KT with the first ban.
KT with the first pick, first ban. What are they going to choose? Are they going to ban the Medivh again? I think this is a fantastic map for Medivh overall. He offers strong damage at those turn-in points after acquiring the Arcane Explosion and, of course, the Circle of Protection. He's really good when it comes to creating shortcuts over the wall to maybe snatch a mercenary camp or escape to safety. And Vala, I think... No, I was going to say. Garrosh could be a better ban. Slightly better.
Yeah, slightly better, seeing as Vala has not been seen in a very long time as of recently. Even Cassia, the hero who was playing second fiddle to Vala for a little bit there in terms of double support compositions from SPT especially. Now she's just gone. Vala especially, and Cassia has been picked far more than Vala. So, with Garrosh being hovered as the ban, is it worth it? You could let the Medivh through. Can KT play the Medivh? Because if they can't, how are we going to get stolen?
It very well could be stolen. And is CE even trying to ban away the Lunarek? And it looked to me like that was one of the key pieces to success there. Taking away the Lunara, which was by far Hope's best hero. He looked so strong on that feisty little reindeer. He was doing so well, but are they going to ban it again on this battleground at least? Or are they going to take away the Zeratul even? Because I too think that... you know, the Zeratul by Alicia could be a threat. It could be one of those elements, one of those surprise elements that could always land a lucky punch.
Okay, well, I've attempted to look up the stats for KT, but they don't exist apparently, so that's good. The team does, but their stats don't. They literally is
What were you trying to look up in?
I was in to see if they played Medivh, but there are no stats about them at all.
I think that could be one of the weaker points for some of the lower tier teams in China. We saw the exact same thing happen with Sunny Lion. I don't think some of the teams are there yet to feel comfortable enough, to feel strong enough from a mechanical point of view to maybe make that Medivh work. RPG seems to be the only exception, and even they lost with Medivh yesterday. They were able to win the first game, but then looked pretty miserable in game number 2. So for them too, it's more like a hit and miss scenario rather than we're going to be consistently performing well on that Medivh, like a team with CE has, for example.
Well, Lunara has now been let through, and this was a map that KT likes to do it on. Question is, will CE go for the Medivh to try and bait that in, or do they have their own plan? Do they have already different ideas in mind?
I wouldn't hate the Medivh. You could definitely show it early on as well, but if you show it early on, there is, of course, a chance of playing against Hope's Lunara, and maybe CE, they want to be a little more sneaky about their draft, right? Not picking the Medivh right away, saving it for the second round, and maybe even ban Lunara second after their opponents already had their ban as well. But they go for Varian. I'm always happy for that. They even go for the Russian variant, the Commander variant. Or is it Commandant variant? I think it's Commandant.
Commandant.
Commandant, yeah.
Is how I always thought it was pronounced, but
there we go.
I am also not Russian. So therefore I do not know completely.
Either way, he fits the map, he fits the theme, and I like it.
So, what do we see from this side of KT? What other heroes are in that little trailer that they had on for this map?
They did have Ana.
Junkrat, Ana, yeah, Ana's who I was thinking of. Junkrat was definitely
Falstad.
there. Falstad, yeah.
Falstad was going down to that pretty sick dubstep beat that went well, and then Falstad came all the way through.
Yeah. Ariel was definitely there, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she revived a person. I might be wrong.
Yeah, you might be right.
Like
Zarya,
that was the first show of
Zarya.
Right? Yeah, Zarya was. There was plenty of options, but those they can play it, or at least, well, they're going to try to play it, is what I should really say here.
They can at least pick it. That's for sure. Whether they can play it, that's a different question. But we would love to be surprised, of course, here by that Medivh being locked in by KT for potentially the first time. So with Hanzo Medivh. That is probably going to be the only ranged assassin that they're going to rely upon. I don't think we're going to see another one. They are still looking for a solo laner, which is more than likely going to be a melee hero. And then, of course, they still need a main tank. And unless they go for Rexar, that is also going to be a melee.
I'm just scrubbing back through some of... I'm just literally scrolling through games at this point as opposed to on KT's sheet to try and see if they have played it recently. Stitch is banned by CE. Intriguing. I mean, they know that strategy themselves very well as they play it.
I was going to say, they played the exact same thing against SPT, and they won quite handsomely with it. So they basically want to make sure that they won't have to swallow some of their own medicine here.
Aha, yes, they have played it before versus RPG. They did win. Good. It was a Medivh, Greymane, Diablo, Malfurion, Leoric composition.
That is not too shabby, so they do have some experience here. Looks like we're going to see a Thrall this time on the side of CE, and on Volskaya Tetcher, chances of Crash Lightning being locked in increase quite a bit here, because it's one of those battlegrounds where you have a longer skirmishing phase near the turn-in points. And as such, Crash Lightning could be an option. Doesn't have to, though. If, you know, Thrall remains the sole laner and Varian doesn't do it, if they don't go for... oh, no, they're not going to go for another tank because they need a support still. So Thrall is probably going to be the sole laner then. Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I would agree. So, again, we're unlikely, unfortunately, to see the Crash Lightning due to needing that, that solo lane Thrall capability. KT, on the other hand, they need a tank at minimum, with Stitches banned out. With a Medivh on their side, Diablo jumps up in popularity. Garrosh is banned, otherwise he would have been perfect. Arthas can become relatively popular, but he will be outraged obscenely unless Medivh can get some really good portals. Muradin is a safe choice, but also potentially dangerous against the Tychus. They're going to have to be very aggressive onto Tychus to prevent him getting that minigun value. And Zeratul, for exactly that reason, put pressure onto that Tychus.
All right, and now with Alicia Zeratul being deployed, that of course means that we're going to have some VPs added, probably with a little touch of cleave. So they don't have follow-up here, right? The only follow-up they could potentially have is the Dragon's Arrow. That is a little hard to land. We've seen quite some teams in China actually whiffing the combo. We also have the roots, though, so we don't have the big, flashy wombo combos that could result in triple and quad kills. However, we do have some nice CC follow, right? They can be locked in place with the roots. They can be stunned with the Dragon's Arrow. And already, CE is going to have to be very careful on not getting caught with multiple members in one Void Prism. So clumping up is going to be a capital, a pretty pivotal crime, I wanted to say. There we go. And now the Stukov, of course, adds a little bit of disengage there as well. He could go for the flaming swipe to basically keep everyone at bay. The silence will come in handily as well. So yeah, very solid tank. We were a little bit skeptical yesterday, but CE seems to be a team that can make it work consecutively.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you sure you don't mean consistently? But yeah, consecutive as a word does actually match in that sentence. So
yeah,
yes,
they did it yesterday.
Enough. I have outplayed. Yeah, you are correct.
Consistently and consecutively. Continuously as well.
Yeah, I'm just getting consistently out-grammared. Well played. And consecutively out-grammared. As we do end up seeing KT with a sort of aggressive composition. I would quite like to see Massive Shove just to try and either disengage Zeratul or to push away Muradin when he goes into Avatar. Just waste that. If you can waste Avatar, you've had a really good game.
All right. Is it going to be a day of Varian, or is he going to find his master in maybe a Zeratul, in maybe... what was the warrior? Muradin. There we go. So a battle of alliance tanks, just the way I like it.
Muradin, he taught Arthas, but what has he done? But is he still the master over a different prince/king? As KT on the left, Hope playing Hanzo, Kaitu on Muradin, TWT on the Malfurion, Lycia playing the Medivh, and Zizm is on Zeratul.
And don't you dare call this man a prince, because he will take your life for it. It is going to be Wind on that variant here for CE. With a Luful on the Tychus, we see the support 365 on Stukov. KTY is on that Junkrat, and Thrall this time around is going to be played by Zuyu, who, as we hinted towards, is going for Crash Lightning. So it is probably going to be a Junkrat taking care of the soul lane for the most part, which is perfectly fine to do. And we're going to see Thrall in the rotations here. So already two different philosophies, two different schools of Thrall. Which one is going to be the more successful one? The Echo of the Elements wasn't able to win the first game. Now with Crash Lightning, they can maybe do it.
Hanzo being the combo breaker, unable to go for a green talent. So unfortunately not matching with his team. Also, for not calling Varian a prince, he must have been a prince at some point, right? He wasn't born a king.
He was indeed a prince. In the Warcraft movie that we could see, was it last year or was it 2016? Last year, right? It was 2017.
It was last year.
Yeah. We could see him as a young boy when his father, Lane, rode off to face the orcs.
That went well. As we see rotating around the map as a group, they're just looking for big old groups of enemies, quick lane clear to get those Crash Lightning stacks. And Junkrat is currently being left very peacefully down in this bot lane, or about as peaceful as a Junkrat can have anything in life.
Yeah, and look at that concussion mine. It's actually going to cause Hanzo.
Do it.
Oh, Hope next level.
Played.
Ah, that was so cool, because if that concussion mine had landed, he would have actually gotten a knockback, potentially missing the entire minion wave. So Hope realizing, you know what, KTY, I'm not falling for your mischievous shenanigans here, securing not only his arrival in time, but also the XP flow.
So, Mercenary Camp being taken by KT, grabbing themselves that turret. Very slow for CE if they did want to grab it at all. Instead, they've moved multiple heroes up to the top lane to put pressure on with a different Mercenary Camp that they were able to get. Zuyu, the idea is here to try and force multiple members to defense so that Zuyu can gain more stacks of Crash Lightning. For those who don't know, even though it is currently actually the most popular talent on Thrall, Crash Lightning, if you can hit 2 heroes, I believe, with your Chain Lightning, then at least 2. Get at least 20, then Chain Lightning will now prioritize heroes. If you get lots, it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, they actually changed it a little bit, so it's now 30. So you no longer have this split between 20 and 40. Instead, you need to go to 30, and after you hit 30, you both get maximum value from the damage and the hero prioritization. So they changed it a little bit. They reduced the damage, but at the same time, they made it a little bit easier to stack.
That's the one. So, Wind turning on to Kaitu here. The portal is down, but not being used. Instead, it leaps towards the gate. That nice little splash damage being dealt by CE, continuing the siege, with the Mercenary Camp still alive here. That is very impressive. If 365 was playing a Malfurion, I bet those Mercs would have had at least one heal as well, for good measure. Also, props to Lycia here, going with a Portal Mastery Medivh. This is, as I've said repeatedly, my favorite talent on the hero. I think it is the one that easily has the most value out of all of them. Not, however, going with the Raven Familiar, and this makes sense. Malfurion and, unless he plans on going Twilight Dream, and Hanzo especially, don't really have a huge amount of purpose to try and do portal dancing.
Now we see the bigger they are coming in here for Tychus. That, of course, is particularly designed to deal with a Muradin, especially when he's in Avatar form. That could be an outstanding talent, getting a lot of value. Wind actually holding this platform all by himself until reinforcements arrive after securing the turret there in the bottom. So extremely patient play by CE. Well done, though, that KT wasn't really eager on initiating a team fight anytime soon anyways. So self-healing coming in here as well, using that Lion's Fang self-healing for Wind. Muradin's getting chunked down pretty heavily. He's down to 40%, 30%.
Wind go with Victory Rush. Very interesting here. He's not going to be near minions as much as potentially usual, but the value he could get here could be kind of crazy. He was, however, able to gain control of the first protector of the game, and is going to begin putting pressure onto the structures here.
Yeah, when Horde and Alliance unite, they pilot the Protector at the same time. Varian in the driver's seat and Thrall on the gunner's seat. So, how much value are they going to get? That laser actually connecting big time against Hope on that Hanzo. He needs to tread very carefully now not to get blown to pieces here. Taking the Healing Fountain charge and, you know, regenerating a little bit of lost health here. And now, CE is doing what you should always do these days on Volsky. You should cycle between the lanes, going from mid to bottom, maybe even top lane as well, and get all the towers to give a maximum experience lead to your team. And already you can see CE skyrocketing ahead. The Protector is without a doubt one of the most impactful, if not the most impactful objective in the game right now.
Yeah, outside of maybe a curse, I would argue, but the fact is the Protector can be used on a team fight. A curse
True.
finds it a little bit more difficult. It's pretty close. It very much depends on the scenario. Although, if I did actually have to take a guess, I would argue that technically the Towers of Doom objective is the most useful in terms of winning the game.
You're very correct. You can never forget about the tower shots, of course, the bell tower shots. So, for now, though, we're going to see the healing pulse being taken over by CE. Level 10 is so close for them as well that KT, instead of trying to contest this, they're trying to soak for themselves. They're trying to get the turret there in the bottom half of the map. Compared to other mercenary camps, by the way, the mercenary camps on Volskaya Foundry give a pretty hefty amount of experience, similar to what we could observe at Hanamura when the game still featured that battleground. By the way, for those of you who are wondering what happened to Hanamura, the development team is still reworking the map, and I think there was an update on Hanamura saying that they're still working on it and they have no ETA for us, unfortunately. So for players who have had an exceptionally high win rate on the Hanamura, like myself, I really hope the day will come very soon where we'll be able to go to Neo Tokyo again. Would be fantastic. Not even sure if it's called Neo Tokyo. I just said it would be.
Yeah, we will have to find out as we see coming in here. Also, I expect we'll probably get, like, Blizzard are much less willing to release new maps, but I'm sure we'll see one at probably Gamescom or this one, as we see the pressure being dropped onto Varian as he is backing up.
All right, looks like they're not willing to let go just yet. Of course, the beautiful thing for CE right here is when the enemies are grouped up to defend the structure, Zuyu is going to get so much value. Look how cheekily he goes in there as the main frontliner, trying to hit as many chain lightning targets as possible. This one whiffed, unfortunately. Here, though, level 10 will be arriving shortly for KT as well, and then they need to be paying a little more attention to where they step, because with the Void Prison, the Dragon's Arrow, and potentially a Twilight Dream, things could turn quite sour if CE oversteps their welcome.
No camp is taken, and as such, that's going to put the pressure on. Level 10 is just about to be hit for KT, so well timed by CE as they back out, not wanting to get themselves caught. At the moment, it's a very much slower game than previous. So far, First Blood has yet to be achieved.
First Blood has yet to be achieved. As you said, Tetra, this has been an exceptionally patient game. No kill at all. You might actually wonder if you're still watching China, because that is definitely looking more like an European or Korean game here. China is known for aggression, is known for early brawling and skirmishing, but both teams have been doing a really good job at staying out of harm's way up to this point. Healing pulse being used. CE is willing to fight.
And a huge Riptide takes out the Medivh. Stacks are, I'm pretty sure... No, I think he finished them. As we see them pushing in here. Moving to try and pick up one more kill. Nice leap, though, by Hope, getting himself out. Nice route by TWT. And this should allow the last two heroes to escape.
Yeah, and that was an absolute savage blow that CE just inflicted onto KT with a beautiful early healing pulse. I love that move, by the way. I think a lot of players are oftentimes waiting too long to even use the healing pulse, and as such, when they drop it, is oftentimes already too late, because the healing is strong and it also regenerates mana too, but the healing is nowhere near as strong as it needs to be to keep a target that is already sitting at 5 or 10% HP alive. The massive shove causes Merge to get blown away. The VP is whiffed as well. Let's see if Wind actually manages to stay alive. Zuya certainly doesn't.
A huge turnaround while that
Haymaker, by the way.
The Haymaker, like you said, coming in for the Muradin here, who begins to zone out for his team. Portal is down, and KT, after picking up that kill, they're just going to be able to leave if they even want to. If they're trying to turn around onto Wind here, who has bitten off far more Nika too, but Junkrat, with a concussion mind, has given Wind that escape.
Strong heals here by Varian right now, and Zeratul needs to be careful. Tychus already on the chase. Alufo playing a really strong and dangerous Tychus up to this point. They lost Thrall, but they managed to just, delay that fight for so long that he's actually back right now, and the platform hasn't even been channeled yet. So no Protector progress anywhere to be found for KT.
So an interesting scenario here, and for those who are wondering why I was slightly confused about Medivh, I'm pretty sure he did lose his stacks, but hang on, Muradin silenced. Still silenced. Very long amount of CC. No
avatar.
Does not spread. Haymaker though, and a snipe with the thundering. I love it. He goes off the map as Zuyu continues to pile on the pressure.
I like how our observer also marked the way in the location where Muradin just goes, whee! getting down and shut down. All right, fantastic stuff coming in here from Zuyu. Definitely the payback because he was locked down by the Muradin earlier. He now had the last laugh as it seems, and right now CE is back on track, securing that platform in the top lane. And during all of that, KTY was actually having a happy little peaceful time in the bottom lane, shoving and soaking a little bit more. So this fight was basically won in a 4 versus 5 situation by CE. So well played.
So to finish my thought on Medivh quickly, when Medivh dies, usually, at least on the UI that I use, a little icon pops up next to his name and with an, aka the Arcane Rift icon, with a line through it showing that the stacks are destroyed. I don't know if this UI does that. That is why I was confused, because it popped up, but it did not have the line for it. This could mean the quest is complete. It could mean that the UI I use is slightly different. As they begin to push in and put pressure, grabbing at least a tower straight away, they'll probably wait for another shield to pop up before they go too far in. No, they're going to go pretty aggressively and just take the shots.
Yeah. Now 2 objectives are pushing. Look at that big protector, but there's another big mech pushing in there as well. It is the Odin. So now they have maximum damage assembled here to take down that top keep. By the way, Petter, we don't see the circle of protection for Medivh at level 13. That means there's not going to be any AoE Arcane Explosion value. Just like that Haymaker, by the way, was slightly misaimed here, only knocking him for a few centimeters. For now, though, Sism is trying to make something happen here. The VP, is it going to go down? Nope, he needs to go to safety right now. Gets the Protector and the main tank in.
Kaitu's trying desperately to get a Haymaker, and he will do so. Doesn't even need the Haymaker this time. He did pick up the kill using his Skullcracker, able to take down the Junkrat, and that forces the full retreat here out of CE.
Yeah, Kaitu's healing thanks to second wind. He's trying to go for yet another flank. 365 seems to be oblivious, and he wants to go for the support, but the massive shove denies the Muradin. Twilight Dream getting the retaliation kill, though. The Polybomb is spreading. Happy little sheeps are flying around.
But they're able to survive, and it's a 2-for-1. They're looking to try and take out Lycia again, but unable to do so. Kaitu hangs around, looks for the pressure onto Wind. Good stun, and the cleanse is used. Massive shove directly into wall. Haymaker, though, cuts off Wind's work, but Alufal burns down the Muradin easily.
All right, the fight is not over just yet. Looks like Alufal wanted to have a little more, though, but natural agility is too strong right now. It brings too much distance between Hanzo and his pursuers. So as such, the fight has been, has been ended. Let's take a look at the damage that has been dealt. Top keep successfully destroyed. 3-level lead still maintained by CE. They don't really care about the Medivh vision here as well. They realize that they still have a talent advantage. We now see Thunderstorm coming in here as well, by the way, for Thrall. That is going to emphasize and amplify his damage even more. Now, pay attention though. If you go for Thunderstorm, you need to avoid hitting the same hero twice in a row. If you do so, the initial target will cause your stacks to reset, and you're no longer going to have the slow and the extra damage on your Chain Lightning. 14 stacks only, by the way, on Crash Lightning. So, despite his stacking going rather underwhelmingly, the damage that Zuyu is able to put out is quite admirable.
It is. He has been doing a pretty decent job in general, mostly going in just trusting his other talents, the Wind Fury, his follow-through. He's getting value in other ways.
And that is really cool to see. Like, when you go follow-through on Thrall, you still manage to get enough single-target DPS through, even if your Chain Lightnings don't connect all the time. Whereas if you go for Wrath of the Elements, you're basically limiting yourself to only one target struggling from it. With follow-through, you can actually apply that to whichever target you want to.
They continue to pressure further forwards onto KT. Is that the extra single target damage from Muradin, or am I getting my colors mixed up this time?
Let me double check. No, this is the increased range. So it's
no, as in level 13. Sorry.
Oh, level 13. Sorry. Yeah, that's Thunderstrike. You're totally correct. So the way it works is, if Muradin finds an exposed target that is currently not being surrounded by any other heroic or minion targets, as long as it's an isolated target, Thunderstrike is going to deal extra damage, and he's going to be even more dangerous when it comes to bursting down a single target.
I don't think Zizm expected the Haymaker to push back Alufal that far. The Cleave missed. Force of Will is good, just dodging the Sundering, and everyone from KT is able to get out. However, there's a Travelator in the way. Big damage on Zuyu, but not enough for the kill.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the beauty of Dwarf launch at level 16. Muradin is now going to have a huge huge range when it comes to initiating team fights, when it comes to escaping Sundrings, just like he did before. So Muradin is now going to be quite the unpredictable warrior. But look at the base. We totally missed that, and so did KT. All CE needs to do right now is keep them at bay, just prevent them from teleporting back, and this could very well be a game for the Winions to decide.
It's done. They can't port. They've been completely denied going back to base. Or 2 catapults now, I think, will completely end this game. Zeratul, VP the core, VP the core. He doesn't have VP up. That is GG. And CE takes game number 2 at the 2-0.